The Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is here, and after spending a week with it, I can already tell you that this is my new favorite handheld gaming device right now. It's powerful, it's portable, and the form factor alone has made this my daily go-to. Now, I've used a couple of handhelds over the past few years. I've had the original Steam Deck, the Steam Deck OLED, the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, and I've got the upcoming Legion Go 2 on pre-order. So this isn't just a hype reaction for me. In this video, I'm going to give you a hands-on review of the Xbox Ally X. I'll break down what this does well, where there's missed opportunities and room for improvement, and I'll go over key specs and real-world performance so that you can decide if this is your next handheld. So let's get into it. So before we dive into the device itself, I want to take a quick moment to clarify what the Xbox Ally X actually is, because the name can be a little confusing. Despite the prominent Xbox branding, this is not a dedicated console like an Xbox Series S or Series X. Instead, just like the other ROG Ally models, this is a handheld gaming PC. You can install Steam, Epic, Battle.net, anything that you can run on a Windows computer, you can run here. The difference here is that this was developed with Microsoft and marketed under the Xbox brand, which is why it kind of carries this Xbox styling. It has the dedicated Xbox button in front. So with that clarified, let's get into what makes this device so special, starting with the brand new design. So when you pick up the Xbox Ally X, one thing hits you immediately. It's this controller grip design. Unlike past handhelds that just had a frame screen with little handles, this device evolves into something that actually feels like a proper controller with the built-in screen. And that's what I found in using it for a week. These grips make a real difference. I found myself less aware of holding a screen and more immersed in playing a controller, which is a big part of why this has become my go-to handheld so quickly. In terms of button and layout, the Xbox Ally X keeps the same layout we've seen in the previous ROG Ally models. Full-size analog sticks, your ABXY buttons, triggers, bumpers, D-pad. The key difference here is that you have the dedicated Xbox button that's integrated up front. Now obviously this is larger than what we've seen so far though. With the bigger battery and the more substantial design, there's a noticeable difference in size and weight. The original ROG Ally weighs about 608 grams, the Ally X weighs 678 grams, while this new Xbox Ally X comes in at 715 grams. But because of the new grip design, this actually feels more balanced and more comfortable to hold, and so far the weight increase has never been a bother for me. Now one thing that hasn't changed is the screen. And I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion, this is the single biggest disappointment of the Xbox Ally X. We are still getting the same 7-inch 1920 by 1080p IPS panel, same 120 refresh rate that we've seen in all of the previous Ally models. To be clear, this is not a bad screen, and it's okay for a handheld. I just feel like sticking with the same thing again kind of feels like a step behind. And that feeling is just even stronger when we look at the competition on the horizon, such as the upcoming Legion Go 2, which is set to feature an 8.8-inch, 144 Hz 2K OLED screen. And then when you look back to this device and you see these large bezels, I can't help but feel that there was a missed opportunity to, at the very least, increase the screen size here. So ultimately, the screen is fine, but on a premium device with this higher price tag, this kind of feels like one area that really didn't get the upgrade that it deserved. Where we do see upgrades though is on the inside of the device. The Xbox Ally X is giving us the AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme processor, which is up from the Z1 Extreme that we see on the ROG Ally and the Ally X. Now, to be clear, the CPU upgrade isn't a massive leap, but it's something. Along with that though, we're also getting 24 gigs of DDR5X RAM. We're getting 1 terabyte of storage using a standard M.2 2280 drive. The RAM increase is decent, when compared to the original Ally. We're going from 16 gigs to 24 gigs, but this is the same amount of RAM that we're already previously seeing in the Ally X, although the RAM on this one is slightly faster. And then same thing with the storage. We're doubling the 512 gigs that we see in the original Ally, but we have the same storage that we're already seeing in the Ally X. And then what I do like here is that with the standard M.2 2280 drive, I think it will be helpful with potential upgrades that you as a user may want to make. Hardware doesn't mean anything though without performance. So the big question is, with all of the new tech, how do the latest games actually run? And I have to say, in the past week, the Xbox Ally X has been great. I've already played a handful of new AAA games. To keep things simple, I ran everything that we're about to see in 1080p resolution. I used the 25-watt turbo mode and I stuck to medium in-game graphical settings, so just that's kind of the base. So I wasn't really even trying to push for every last frame. I just wanted a good gaming experience. I wanted to see what that looked like. And honestly, the results have been incredibly solid for a handheld. In Borderlands 4, I was able to get a very stable 30 to 33 FPS. In Clair Obscur Expedition 33, performance was even better, hovering between 40 to 55, depending on the area. I played a little bit of the recent Doom, The Dark Ages, and that ran at a solid 35 to 40 FPS. And then I played some Battlefield 6, which was consistently hitting around 50 to 55 FPS. And that's the key takeaway here. These are not old titles. These are some of the newest top games of the year. And the fact that the Xbox Ally X can actually deliver a playable, respectable experience in all of them at 1080p medium settings is honestly a huge win for a handheld device. So if you were worried about whether this device could keep up, you can relax. It's definitely more than capable of handling the latest games as well as any handheld can. Now on the flip side of all of the performance, you may wonder how long can you actually play for? And this is another area where the Xbox Ally X has taken a huge step up, especially compared to the original model. This is equipped with a massive 80 watt-hour battery, which is double the 40 watt-hour battery that we were seeing from the original ROG Ally, which was a major complaint from users, myself included. This is, however, the same size as the battery in the more recent Ally X, but to see what the battery can do under pressure, checked out those same games that we were just recently talking about in those exact same settings, 1080p, 25-watt turbo mode, medium graphics. So this was more of a stress test, not a battery saving run, anything like that. And honestly, the results for all of these games was pretty consistent, with me getting around 2 hours of playtime, give or take 10 to 15 minutes one way or another. So basically what this shows is that even when you are pushing this device with brand new AAA games at medium settings and up, you can still expect a reliable 2-ish hours of gameplay, which I think is a respectable baseline for a handheld that's this powerful. And remember, I wasn't even trying to get the best battery life here. If you were to play an indie game, if you were to lower this down to the 15-watt performance mode, drop the screen brightness, mess with in-game settings, whatever you could do, you could easily get longer sessions out of this. But it's great to know that these high-end, graphically intense games can at least get you a couple solid hours. Now, let's talk software, because this is where the Xbox Ally X does separate itself a little bit from some of the other Windows handhelds that we've seen so far, at least for now. As I mentioned earlier, yes, this is still a handheld PC. It still runs Windows 11, which means you can get access to your different libraries and applications like I talked about earlier, Steam, Epic, Battle.net, EA, Xbox Game Pass. But what this does is we have the integration with the new Xbox experience. This is the first Windows handheld that is natively giving us this Xbox experience, which is something close to a console-like experience if you want it. I think the console-like experience is something that the SteamOS devices have already done really well, but now we're seeing it in the Windows devices. The dedicated Xbox button brings up the Xbox game bar instantly, and it gives you something similar to what you would see with an Xbox console. And I think this could be a big appeal for a lot of people, especially those that have not been big PC gamers in the past. But you still have the freedom to drop into desktop mode and use this like a normal PC if you'd rather do that. So I definitely do think that this is a huge step forward for Windows handheld gaming, especially with this supposedly coming to other Windows handheld devices in the future. We're just officially getting it here first. So that brings us to our most important question: who is the Xbox Ally for? I personally love this device. As I said, it's become my new daily handheld. The ergonomics are great. I love the controller grips. They're just amazing. Battery life is usable now, and performance is good enough for modern AAA gaming on the go, as good as you can get on a handheld nowadays. But I'm still disappointed we didn't get any sort of upgrade in the display itself. No OLED, no bigger screen, nothing. The same thing that we already have been seeing. Hands down, to me, the weakest part of this device. And then at $999 USD, this is definitely expensive. Handhelds are starting to push into that $1,000 plus range. It's definitely more than previous ROG Ally models, but it's competitive with the new premium handhelds like the Legion Go 2, which is coming out, and the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. But who is this for? This is for someone who wants one of the best handhelds available right now. If you want strong performance, incredible comfort, Windows flexibility, and the console-like Xbox experience, this thing definitely delivers. But who is it not for? If you already own the Ally X, I don't think this is a big enough upgrade. If you're a budget-conscious gamer, there's definitely other options out there, such as the Steam Deck or the original Ally Z1 Extreme, which I still think is a great handheld, and they come in at a much more affordable entry point. And if screen quality is your #1 priority, you may be better off waiting to see what the competition brings to the table, such as the upcoming Legion Go 2. But for everyone else, the Xbox Ally X is an awesome handheld, and it's one of the best handheld gaming experiences that you can buy right now. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more handheld and gaming content, and drop a comment if you already have the Xbox Ally X. I'd love to hear about your experiences so far. Are you enjoying it as much as I am? I'll see you in the next one, and game on.